Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's AD like all day, your favorite realtor right here from Monterey, bringing your dreams to your doorway. And today, we're back for episode number 3 on the beautiful struggle. And we're gonna be interviewing the one, the only, Mr. Antonio. How do you pronounce your first name again?
Hiram.
Hiram. Okay. I just wanted to be safe, so I said Antonio, but Hiram, and he's going to be talking about his business today. Let's take it off. So, if you could please introduce yourself, who
Sure.
you are, what you do for a living, your business, and what's your why behind it.
Sure. My name is Hiram Antonio. Okay. I usually go by Antonio easier. A lot of people remember my last name better. I am a sports massage therapist. I've been doing this for about 5 years. I specialize on treatments that help clients and people move pain-free and help them perform their daily activities better. And I guess the reason why, I do what I do is because I know what it feels to not be able to enjoy life fully because either you're hurt, because of an injury.
Right.
So definitely, I think that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. I want to be able to help people enjoy life better.
Awesome, Hiram. And can you elaborate a little bit on like why you have so much passion about helping others and helping them find those pain points or and be able to make them stronger. And if you could elaborate too on the actual name,
I think that
that's a very unique
I think
name.
that will that will make things more clear. The word dunamis is a Greek word that means the power, God-given power, God-given explosive power. It's a power that it's unexplainable.
Right.
It's something that it doesn't make sense. That's dunamis. Something that you have internally that makes you want to do things. And what I do believe is that injuries related to either sports,
Right.
accidents, or even muscle overworking because of the gym, or even sitting too long at a chair at an office can cause your body to go to some sort of tension, stress, situations at home,
Right.
family, kids problems, can easily make people stressed out and show symptoms of some sort of pain somewhere. And what this will do to a person is that it's not gonna allow a person to enjoy life fully. You should be able to walk out of your room, walk out of your house with a smile on your face and take over the day. But a lot of people, they can't do that because they're either hurting, they're stressed because, they can't pay their car.
Right.
There's problems at the house, with the kids, with the spouse, so you can see that on their face that the power that they have within them to live life fully is diminished. Okay, so my goal is through treatment is to help them move their body easier so they can trust themselves again, that they can actually enjoy life fully.
Wow. So you're literally inspiring people while helping them with their physical
Exactly.
problems.
It's almost like a reminder. You let them know that you can actually do this. Yes.
Yeah.
You can actually carry your baby.
Yeah.
You can actually go walk, go for a run with your wife, with your kids. You can actually go play catch with your son. You don't have to be sitting down, the whole day after work and look at your family being happy while you're miserable.
Right, just miserable.
Yeah,
Right.
you don't want to do that. So my goal is to help everybody, that come here, for them to trust themselves that they can have the power to live life fully.
Wow, that's amazing. And yeah, it's so true what he says. I personally actually use his services. That's how me and Hiram actually met. And he unlocked a different kind of power inside me too, because I do boxing, and he helped me get ready for my fight. And I mean, just really unlocking that inner beast or that inner person that a lot of times I feel like society or just life in general really
Definitely
keeps us
Yeah.
hidden. But could you take us back to the early stages of when you first started your business? And like
Sure.
what was that like? What was the reason that you initiated it?
Correct.
And yeah, I would like to know that.
Well, honestly, man, I think that I didn't believe it to begin with. I didn't believe it. Being immigrant, being Latino,
Right.
it's unfortunate that you do not get encouraged to be your own boss.
How so?
Culture. You know, you're always taught to, you got to work for somebody. You know, as long as you bring a paycheck home, it doesn't matter how beat up you are, you know, you're doing your job. You know, you're being the dad, you're being the husband. It doesn't matter how, but as long as you bring a check, you're good to go. But it's hardly encouraged to look at very specific abilities that you have, and then family, friends encourage you to say, you know, you can actually do that on your own. So that wasn't given to me. You know, the people that I was surrounding myself with, including family, you know, none of them had the courage, you know, or the drive to actually be their own boss, but they encouraged me to do that. And so I didn't really think I could do that. And I worked in hospitality for almost 12 years, you know, right out of high school. I didn't think, you know, I could have a future, you know, like have my own office, have my own business. And nothing crossed my mind that I could actually do that, because I didn't grow up with that encouragement. I just grew up, you know, believing that, hey, you know, as long as you do good in school and you find a job, you're going to be good. You marry and you're good to go. There's not that ambition, you know, to be greater. So I just thought, and I settled, you know, maybe this is it. So I worked in hospitality, having 2 full-time jobs for almost 12 years. And every year that went by, I started having doubts on this goal that I was given, you know, or this idea of life that I had. You know, I kept looking at my coworkers, you know, always complaining that they couldn't be at their kids' games. They couldn't take their daughter to prom. You know, they had to miss their wife's labor because they had to work. You know, or they had an injury because they were carrying so many heavy things that, you know, they can't enjoy life, you know, and they had been doing that for 20, 25 years. And about 8 years in, I started noticing, wait a second, that's going to be me if I do not make a change.
Wow, man.
You know, and honestly, I didn't want that, because how can I repeat the exact same thing that happened with my parents? My parents, you know, separated when I was 14, you know, and I didn't grow up with that. I didn't grow up with that encouragement how to be a man, you know.
A father figure,
Yeah, I didn't grow up with that. And in my mind, I thought to myself, and I kept reminding myself too, okay, Antonio, you're always going to be a good dad. You're going to do great things for your family. You're always going to be there for them. You know, you're going to make time off of work to share experiences with your kids. You know, you're never going to leave your wife. But 8 years in, working in hospitality, 2 full-time jobs, I noticed that I was going in the route that I said that I wasn't going to go. And it was a wake-up call, you know? And I started getting upset because I started repeating something that my parents, you know, at some point did. And had to make a decision, you know? And I always enjoy running. Running is one of my passions. I love running. I love eating healthy. I love exercising. And actually, one of my cousins does what I do in Bakersfield. So he is one of the biggest encouragements that I have, you know, to do what I do. And
your cousin?
Yeah.
Nice.
And right after, in 2015, is when I decided to enroll back in college, you know, and go ahead and study the full 4 years, and until I got my degree. And there and then I decided, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do.
Nice. Nice. And then why start the business? I mean, after, you know, going to college, and, you know, what triggered you? I mean, I know it's several things, right? Like you said, but what was the one thing that, you know, and how long have you guys been open for now?
I've been doing this for about 5 years.
5
I've
years.
been having my office for 3.
For 3. Got you.
And I think, honestly, the drive and the impulse for me to do it will be hearing that people believed in me. And that I was good at something, and that I was bringing people joy and happiness.
I love it.
Which is something totally different that you experience when you do hospitality.
Right.
You know, you serve and you hardly get thank you. You know, but in this thing that I was doing, there was actually a purpose behind it. You know, when I worked in hospitality for so many years, there wasn't a purpose. The only purpose that I had was to get a check and pay my bills.
Right.
In this case, the purpose that I was getting was fulfillment in my heart. That was actually making people happy and then help them enjoy life to their fullest.
Yeah, and you're making a difference too, not only in their lives, but in the world. Because I'm assuming you do such a good job, they tell their friends and their friends.
Exactly.
And then you're just helping more and more people.
Yeah, and I remember, you know, I had promised myself actually, when I recently got my license as a massage therapist, I said to myself, okay, Antonio, once you get 250 clients, you go ahead and open your office. And I thought to myself, probably that's going to happen maybe 2 years or so. Probably that's going to be it. And in about a year and a half, you know, I was hustling and I saw in my agenda and in my books that I had over 250.
Nice, man.
I was like, what the hell? How did this happen?
Yeah.
You know,
How did we get to this point?
Yeah, so there was so much enjoyment on what I was doing.
Yeah.
That I didn't even notice. And people kept telling me, you know what, you need to open your own office because that way you have more room, you know.
Where were you training people at this time?
I was doing house calls.
So you was going to people's houses all the time.
Everywhere, driving everywhere, wherever people call me.
How was that, man? Take us back to those moments. I'm assuming that must have been difficult because you had kids, right, at that time? Or?
Well, I was going through some, you know, emotional disturbances, I will say, because, you know, my mind was a little busy with some personal issues with relationships and, you know, finding myself that what I was doing was bringing so much fulfillment that I didn't even feel that much pain, you know. So I was going through this peak of like, you know, like energy, you know, like dunamis, you know. It was giving me the power to keep on going. And I would go anywhere. I remember people calling me from Mountain View, San Francisco, San Jose, Castroville, Big Sur, Carmel, Pebble Beach. Anywhere they wanted me, I wanted to be there. I didn't care about how far I needed to drive. And I think that's one of the biggest things that made a big difference because when I used to work, you know, for somebody, I didn't even want to drive for work. You know?
You didn't even want to wake up, man.
I didn't even want to wake up.
No passion, yeah.
I didn't even want to wake up and drive 15 minutes to work.
That's crazy.
And when people call me from San Francisco, like, hey, do you mind coming here for 2 people? That's not a 2-hour drive going and another 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even hesitate.
He's like, hell yeah, let's go. Roll up the car and just, woo.
Yeah, so
that's amazing, bro.
Yeah, it's the passion that you get, you know, from seeing people enjoying life. Right. More, you know, and it was difficult, you know, at the beginning, but now towards the end, you know, building clientele, you start having this trust, right? You know, in yourself that you start telling yourself every day, you know what, bro, you got this. You actually are really good at what you do, and you're making a change in people's lives, you know.
What would you say to those people? Because as a entrepreneur, small business owner, just starting off, right? Just starting off the business, and you're doing driving, everywhere, doing everything up and beyond, trying to basically go for your clients. What would you say to those that don't see that progress happening right away? Like they don't see the 250 people, 250 clients that they'll get. They're just stuck in the growing pains of starting a new company. I mean, what would you share with people? What would you say?
Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith on yourself. Because at the end, AD, you only have yourself, always. And this is one of the things that I learned, from also a business owners telling me, if someone comes, or if God comes, or whatever you believe in, decides to take away everything that you ever once have, or enjoy dear.
Right, strip you down to nothing.
Yeah, strip you down to nothing. Right. And the only thing you have left is yourself. Will you be able to live with that? Will you be able to enjoy life just with who you are?
Not what you have.
Exactly. And thinking back, before I even had my own business, if someone was, and it actually did happen. There was a situation in my life, where I lost my 2 jobs that I had. I lost the relationships that I had. I lost every single penny that I had in the bank. I lost the opportunity to go to college as well. I even got my car
Get out of here, man. They took your car too?
Yeah,
Wow.
because I couldn't work, bro.
What? You gotta walk me through this, man. How'd you get out of this?
So it was a full year.
Yeah.
It was a full year of this is the time that I'm telling you. You know,
Right.
that I was going through something emotional.
Right.
I have an uncle. You know, he's a pastor, and I was starting to go through this hustle. You know, and I was telling him, like, dude, I feel that there's something more for me, but I don't know how to do it. And I want to make a change in people's lives, but I feel that there's something more that I need to do. And then he said, well, you need to pray. But you got to be careful the way you pray, because God does hear. And he's going to give you what you need, you know, not what you think you need.
That's
And
so true.
when I decided to, okay, let's move by faith. And he said, be ready, because God's going to take away the things that you don't need in life, to remind you that the only thing you need is yourself and him. And I just said, like, okay, thank you. You know, just like an advice. Oh, thanks. Thanks for the advice. And then 2 months later, one thing is out. You know, a week later, another thing is out. And then I started noticing this heaviness and this emptiness in my heart. I started freaking out because I had put my identity and my passions on objects and people instead of myself.
Right.
And when everything was gone, I wasn't happy with who I was. And I noticed that I didn't have a purpose. My purpose back then was to make people happy so they can tell me that they love me. There was a reason why I wanted that. And when that was gone, you know, I fell into anxiety and depression. You know, throughout the rest of college, I was struggling through that. You know, and my uncle kept telling me, you will have to learn on your own what your strengths, what your weaknesses are. And honestly, it happened. And when I started realizing that I didn't need any of those things, that I didn't need an unhealthy relationship, that I needed to forgive, and I also needed to ask for forgiveness, that I needed to humble myself and not be prideful. Because when there is pride, there's no way you can learn. There's no way you can learn. And when everything was stripped down and I had just myself, I had to relearn everything. And I started noticing issues that I thought I had put to the side, or I thought I had already healed from. But when everything around you gets quiet, the only thing you can listen is to your own thoughts, your own ideas, your own emotions, no? And I didn't like what I was hearing. I didn't like what I was thinking. So I had to reset everything back again, strip down from the beginning. So, okay, Antonio, who are you? What makes you happy? And like, is this the career that you feel that is gonna fulfill you? And I keep telling myself, yes, this is it. Then you're gonna have to learn to love yourself first, to help yourself first, in order to help others.
Right.
And the aspect of patience and having faith, you know, is what kept me at it. I never lost faith that my purpose was gonna be, you know, helping people. I knew that was gonna happen, but I just needed to be consistent.
Right.
Every day, you know, keep loving myself, telling myself in the mirror, okay, Antonio, you got this. You know, your day is probably not gonna go the way you want it, but it's still your day.
Right.
Still yours.
I love that, man.
Yeah, take what you can, and what you can't control, you need to get rid of it. So, coming back to the question you asked, it's like, you need to have faith, because hard times are gonna come, and if you're not able to overcome this hard time, you probably won't be able to overcome the next ones that come around.
Oof,
man,
that's good, bro.
Because when you're a business owner,
true.
you know,
So true.
you're always gonna have ups and downs.
100%.
You are always gonna be learning something.
Yeah.
And if there is no adversity, there is no way you can learn.
You almost don't even appreciate it as much.
Yeah.
If there wasn't any roadblock, if there wasn't any.
You become prideful. You become prideful because you think this is me. This is what I've built. But if you never learn to humble up you can't really grow connections with people because there's nothing to relate with.
That's so true, brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true. No, thank you for sharing that, and that like even myself, I started my business 6 months ago, and there's a lot of times that, man, yeah, I cried a few times,
Heck yeah.
like it's tough, man.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
crazy,
Yeah.
I'll say that for another segment, that story, but it's just like you go through up and downs, and you just gotta have that hope, that esperanza, you just never give up, and know that there's something brighter on the other side. If you just continue on the other, and also on the other side of fear, is some of the best things in life, and because that's what I got out of what you said, with your family trying to, some of your family and some of the maybe the people that you're around, trying to bring you down because you're trying to get out of that rat race, essentially, right? Like get out of that 9 to 5, get out of that system where you're almost like a cog and you're being told what to do and what not to do, but now you found your true purpose.
Exactly.
And so that's amazing, man. So one thing I want to dive into is tell me your story of like how, coming to America, because I know you said you immigrated here from Mexico.
Yes.
And just tell me, what are some things that you took advantage that other people take for granted here in the United States?
I mean, that's a lot, man. That is a lot. I'm not trying to narrow it down as much as possible.
Or like just grab some of the most
Definitely.
difficult moments that you had to go through.
I guess it's to appreciate what you have, even if it's a little. I remember I was 14, right? And within 1 week, we had to prepare our documents, our clothes, suitcase, go to schools, get our grades, get a plane ticket, and almost in secrecy. And one of the reasons why is because my mom, she didn't want it to admit defeat. Like, sorry kids, but I couldn't make the marriage work. And we were not proud of it either. My parents were pastors. So when you have this religious, position, you're almost told you have to be perfect. And to have come down to that level, where you don't even have the face. And how can you tell that to your kids? And the pressure was so heavy, to put up a face that everything's okay, that everyone was in depression. Everyone was hurting. And so my mom decided, kids, we need to get out of here. And we packed our stuff, and within a week of us having a conversation, we kissed my dad on his cheek, telling him adios, goodbye. And we took off. It was a Wednesday.
You remember the day, man.
It was a Wednesday. And before, to be honest, I couldn't even talk about it. Because it was such an emotional subject that would bring me back to emotions and feelings that I didn't want to have anymore. Because I couldn't appreciate the success today. And it was the process of believing in us again. I remember first my, like immigrants, right? We had to cross over, we had to pass, and hoping that we can make it. Hoping that, we can start all over. Bro, I grew up running barefooted, right? Only shoes I had, it was for church and school. And it was the same ones. And it was the same ones.
Crazy,
my clothes, they were about, this high. Because we kept overgrowing them. My dad didn't have a stable job. He would get gigs here and there. So there were seasons, that we had, soda every other week. And there were seasons that we couldn't even afford chicken. There were seasons that we had cookies, once a week, but there were seasons that we couldn't even have, like bread. So coming to the United States, and seeing everything available, you know, and almost thinking, I don't think we deserve this. You know, I don't, not even get used to it. I remember coming, you know, everyone coming over, my mom, my younger brother, and myself, and living in a little room like this. You know, it was maybe like 10 by 10, maybe max.
Yeah.
At this house of this Hispanic family. We didn't even know who they were. We were just renting that little room, and the entrance was around the patio.
When you first came to the States.
When we came to the States, it was a small little room, you know, and our entrance was through the patio. And this was our first high school year, you know, and we had a bed, you know, a little sofa, and the floor, and a small coffee table. And that was it. You know, we would go to school.
How many was it?
Just my mom, myself, and my younger brother. All of us three there. And we woke up early in the morning, and it's scary because you don't know the language.
Right.
You know, we didn't know anything.
You did what, 14 years, or
yeah,
I was a teenager.
Yeah,
right?
I actually turned 15.
Right.
The first month that I came here, my younger brother turned 14.
That's crazy, man.
So we didn't know anything about the language. We didn't know anything about the culture. We didn't have any friends. So we have to be
scary, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you? It's understandable, you know, when a kid, you know, starts high school, you know, like, man, I gotta make friends, you know. I don't know anybody. I have a few friends here and there. You still have the language that you can communicate with. You still probably know a few people. You know the culture, you know, on how to get along, you know, how to talk to people.
Right.
But tell that to a couple of kids, 14 and 15, that their parents just got divorced. And they're going through anxiety and depression. Tell that to a couple of kids that don't know the language, don't know the culture. They're afraid if mom is gonna make it with work or not. And tell that to these couple of kids that are hoping that maybe one of these days dad shows back up. He knocks the door and he's back in here. There's no way that can be healthy. There's no way. And I remember the first couple of months that my dad tried to reach us out with a phone call. He said to us, you guys gotta come back, because if you guys don't do that, you guys gonna end up like everyone else. You guys gonna end up either in jail, because you guys are gonna end up being
drug
part of a
dealers
gang,
or gang
drug
members,
dealer, and, you know, or you guys gonna end up, you know, on the streets,
Right.
because you guys don't know anything about there. So might as well come back here. I forgive you guys. Like, we did something wrong, right? I forgive you guys, and, you know, we start all over again.
Right.
You know, and I didn't want to hear that, bro. I wanted to hear, I miss you. You know, I love you, and I'm on my way. You know, and I think the worst part of it is looking at my mom and my younger brother hoping for that to happen. And it never did. It never did. And growing up from that little room, you know, to a couple of years later to having, to a year later, having an apartment of our own.
Nice, man.
You know, and then having my own room.
Right.
You know, my own bed, where to sleep instead of the floor.
Right.
You know, I remember on the little room where we started, you know, we have a little coffee table.
Yeah.
That was our dinner table. That was our arts and crafts table. That was our praying table.
That was everything.
That was everything for us.
Yeah.
It was maybe like 2 by 2.
Right.
It was made out of oak. It was brown. Pieces of the paint was coming off all the time. And, you know, I remember, you know, having that quality time with my mom and my brother. We didn't know what we were doing. With homework, we didn't know anything. We kept looking at the papers and the sheets of homework, and none of us didn't even know how to tackle.
Just lost in the sauce.
Yeah,
man.
we kept looking at it.
Yeah.
You know, and even that was so stressful. I still remember, because it's what we had. And a lot of people don't even appreciate having dinner at the dinner table.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't even appreciate helping their kids with homework. Like, you don't even have to be smart. You just need to sit down.
Yeah, just try.
Yeah, just try. Yeah. My mom didn't know how to do any of that. My mom was the one helping us with homework when we were in Mexico. My dad was providing the food, the shelter, and my mom was in charge, you know, helping us with homework, class activities. You know, she was the one. And then coming here to the States, she couldn't help us at all. So you can see that in her face, the feeling of failure.
That must have, broke her heart.
Big time.
Yeah.
But even then, I still remember that and still treasure it like the beginning of our, of our new future. Of our
journey. Yeah, the new journey, bro.
That's it. And, when I see kids here, not wanting to spend time with their parents, it makes me upset.
Yeah, man. 100%, or stuck on their phones.
Or stuck in their phones.
Yeah, just like not taking advantage of the present.
Dude, I remember the first year of high school, my mom was working at this daycare facility, right? And she was paying under the table. That's how she was getting paid. Right. So it wasn't even minimum wage. Right?
Been whatever.
Yeah, whatever they wanted to give her.
Yeah.
This is why we were living in that living room. And we only got one free meal over there at the high school. And it was the free meal that everyone would get that didn't have the means to pay for a regular meal. Right? I remember getting in line with some of my classmates, and the milk was even frozen. You couldn't even drink it. The apple juice, everything was frozen. Some of the food was that too. So most of the time we were hungry, while we were in school. And my mom, once a week she will give us $1. $1 once a week. It's not 5, 10, $1 once a week. And we will treasure that freaking dollar. Because here's a cool thing that I still remember today. And sometimes I still try to experience that whenever I can. By the end of the month, we have $4, right? And during the last Friday, during the month, my brother and I used to go to high school walking. It took us about 15, 20 minutes going.
Yeah,
and then another 15,
because you didn't have a car.
We didn't have a car.
Yeah.
Our bikes got stolen.
Yeah. So that gives you the description of what kind of neighborhood he grew up in.
It wasn't really cool. It
wasn't the nicest.
It wasn't the nicest, and with those $4, coming back from school, we stopped by a mini mart in the middle of our way, and we'll buy one soda, which are those non-brand ones, Shasta or whatever, weird looking ones. We get potato chips,
right,
and one Twinkie, or some small pastry from the mini mart, and that was our meal or our snack for the whole month that we enjoyed. And that was it.
That's crazy, bro.
And then you see kids here, not finishing their chips, crying to mom because they can't get this, they can't get that. And we knew where we were. We knew that we didn't have the position to ask for mom anything. So whenever we used to go buy clothes, we had to go to the thrift stores or to the Goodwill. So I couldn't even say, can I have this, because I knew it. I wasn't gonna put more weight on my mom's shoulders. So I didn't even say anything. I told my mom, you know what? Here's $5. Go find whatever you fit in, and we will find whatever works. And I remember the first trip we went to Macy's. And I was already working. During high school. I was working during high school, and I gave my mom part of the money. And this does bring me happiness, because I can see her smile, bro. I can see her getting out of the place of sorrow, getting out of the place of anxiety to see us smile. Her true self started coming out. Like what I told you. When you get stripped down from everything, the only thing you have is yourself. So the exact same thing happened to my mom.
Wow.
She had a husband, a church. She had this whole life that she had already built, but she was never herself. Never, bro. So when the first time we went shopping to Macy's, and I helped her pay for the stuff, she started crying, man. And it was a cry not of shame, not of anger, but of happiness, thinking, I think we made it, guys. I think we made it. I think we're gonna be okay. And I still have that picture. We had bags, and we were like tourists in our own place. We were sitting on a red bench. Some lady took the picture of us. We were sitting with her. My mom in the middle, my younger brother on the side, and I was on the right. We were picking up our bags, just chilling and smiling. And I can see that first time that I see my mom with a full smile. And I said, I want her to have that every day.
Wow.
So I try every single year to be the best student that I could be. I try to be as obedient as possible so that smile could stay. So that's one of the things that, make me upset sometimes, with people that are born here and cannot appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wish, and maybe I'm thinking wrong,
Yeah.
but sometimes I wish they can learn a lesson where maybe for one day, everything gets stripped down so they can check themselves if they're really happy on their own.
Wow, bro. That's powerful, man. I don't know if you guys saw it. I was tearing up myself a little bit, getting a little emotional because, I have a very similar story, coming from the Dominican Republic, my family, all illegal. And yeah, man, you really get to value and appreciate what you have, because when it's all stripping away and scarcity's all you see, when you do have those things that you were lacking in the future, you appreciate them so much, man. 100%. Like, and I love what you said about, you just want to see your mother smile, and she experienced finding her true purpose because she was stripping down.
Yeah.
It resigns a lot myself, and I'm assuming a lot of Hispanic. I don't know, something about the Hispanic community and the mothers. I mean, I love my mother.
We're tight, bro.
And I'm always doing the same thing because like I want to see my mother be happy. She's like, hey son, I know you're destined for things, and I'm always reliving that. Like I want to live that into fruition because I know it's gonna make them happy, but it's also making me happy. But that's amazing, man. That's an amazing story, bro.
Yeah.
And so fast forwarding now to your business, you're having success. I heard you're gonna be getting a bigger place now, which is awesome, bro. But what were some lessons that you extracted from all those difficult moments that you help inspire others and help others when it comes to facing adversity? Maybe in your workspace or just day to day. What can you give us some examples of what you would do and how you would share that lesson that you learned from that difficult moment?
I think honestly it's the emotional state you're at and realizing it. And realizing that emotional state and asking for help.
Yeah.
That's the one. You can only swim around a pool for so long until you get tired. You can swim around for laps.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, you're going to get tired.
Right.
You're going to get tired. And if you don't scream for help, you're going to drown.
It's a good analogy.
Bro, big time.
Yeah.
I've
heard that one before.
Yeah, for many, many years, man, I was going through that, while building this, I didn't want to ask for any advice because I wanted to prove a point that I got it. I wanted to prove a point that, my dad was never going to win. I wanted to prove a point that even though family didn't believe in me 100%, I'm going to prove them that I got this. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm not going to ask for help. I'm not going to do anything like that.
Yeah, you're just going to grind. You're just going to grind and make it happen.
But then pride comes in.
Right. What you said earlier.
And when pride comes in, you don't learn. You become close-minded. You don't learn. And when you get things stripped away, then you notice that this pride is not helping me at all.
So true.
So finding or realizing your emotional state and asking for help will definitely allow you to see what you have. The tools that you have and what you're lacking of.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, then there's no way you're going to learn. There's no way you're going to grow up from that adversity.
Right.
And if you know that you're lacking of stuff, and this is the only things that you have, and you know in your mind where you want to be, the only way for you to reach that is asking for help. I wish I could have done that. I wish I could have done that sooner.
And I feel like people don't ask for help because they see it as a sign of weakness. But it's not.
Not at all.
Not, man.
Not at all. It's a humbling moment. Weakness, I don't know. But honestly, when it comes to athletic care, every time I see, an emotional struggle, there always has to be something physical involved, right? You know it too. Every time you want to get better, with your muscle structure, or you want to get stronger, you have to push your muscle to the limit.
Right.
But tell me if I'm wrong, but you're not doing this on your own.
No,
You have a trainer.
I got a coach. Yeah,
You got a coach.
Yeah,
You needed help.
right.
You notice, like, this is all I know. This is all I have. If you were to just stick to what you had and what you knew, you wouldn't be, the boxer that you are today.
100%, right?
Yeah.
Or even in real estate, I got a business coach.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you always have
Coaches.
to realize where you are.
Right,
And it's not a sign of weakness.
right.
One of the managers that I worked for when I was working in hospitality said this. Okay, Antonio, there is never failure. I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, there is never failure. So what is it? It's called a learning opportunity. So if you start changing mentality, instead of saying failure, you start saying, man, there's a learning opportunity. Then you're automatically adjusting your brain to learn.
Right, right. Not seeing it all. Because, I mean, think about it, right? Like, when we all grew up from, like, I mean, I know you were 14 years old when you first came to this country, but like myself, when I was here, when we came here, I was really young. And the school system, they would always grade you, and they would kind of bring you down if you got bad grades,
Yeah.
right? Like if you were to fail, they made you feel bad almost.
Yeah.
Not really like, oh no, you can improve. It's like, no, you're C minus. That's it. You don't pass or whatever. It's like, okay, what can we do to, like, so what now? What can we do to improve this?
Exactly.
And the fact that you change that mindset from, no, I'm not losing, I'm learning. I mean, that's where the real growth is at. So
That's it. It's very important, when it comes to having your own business today, is that I wish I could have done that. I wish I could have noticed, okay, my emotional state and what is it that I had, and what I didn't have. And evaluating myself to seek for help. I keep repeating myself, no, Antonio, it wasn't too late. Yeah, you could have done better,
yeah,
but it wasn't too late. It wasn't the right time, but you could have learned better. So I guess to answer your question, it was that, to tell myself, to seek for help, definitely, when you realize, what you have and what you do not have.
That's amazing, bro. And now the last question, and we'll wrap this up, is how do you find the beauty in the struggle? Essentially, how, like, to this day. So what is your relationship when you come confronted with adversity, and how do you extract those lessons and not only improve yourself, but improve the lives of others?
If I don't allow myself to feel, there's no way I can connect.
I like that.
Yeah.
Man.
There's
Yeah,
no way
I
you
like
can
that.
connect with somebody. Then we're just walls. Then we just,
Feel that pain.
we're just material objects
Right.
that do not transfer anything. I have to feel and I have to almost connect with every single client in order for me to understand what they're going through. Because every time they speak, they also speak to me. And they remind me where I was. And I remind them where they could be.
Ooh, man, you dropping gems
Yeah.
today, bro. That's amazing.
So I think
I love that.
So that's it. That's where
Yeah.
you find beauty in the struggle. When I have people coming here telling me, like I can do an assessment or an examination where I check the range of motion, and I can easily tell when someone is going through something rough, something difficult. They might not want to speak about it too much because they're a little defensive every time I'm working on them, right? They don't want to answer questions. Their voice sounds kind of tough. So when I see this and I start telling myself, I was like that. I was like them at some point.
Right.
The moment that I told you that I didn't want to seek help,
Right.
I didn't know what I had,
Right.
so.
You wanted to handle it all by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I see people like this, it reminds me of how I was emotionally.
Right.
So then while I'm working on it, I tell them my story. And slowly, I swear to God, slowly, and I'm doing the evaluation, the movement again, and then slowly start loosening up.
Literally,
Yeah.
mentally and physically.
And half an hour in the session, then they start telling me, well, actually, it reminds me of.
Got you.
So then they start telling me their story. And
I love it.
allowing them to express something is almost like a cry for help. And when you start having that cry of help, is when changes start happening.
Yeah, man.
So this is where I found the beauty.
Yeah.
It's where you know, through the struggle, you know, you have to see a true potential that can happen, you know, and if I can tell them who I am, maybe later they can find that hope, you know, that I once found.
That's amazing, bro. And you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, like I said, I personally had a treatment by Antonio done, and the first thing he does, obviously, very energetic, very likable, charismatic person. But when he was trying to find the pain that I was feeling, or why wasn't I maximizing my potential, he really isolated it because he wanted to know where that pain was. He wanted to find the root of the problem, and then he found it. He fixed it up. He fixed me up. He made me feel 10 times better, and because of that, I personally felt happy, and I'm assuming you felt happy because you made me feel better, and it's so amazing how everything ties into your story.
Exactly.
And how you're literally living your dream and helping others because of the struggle you have to go through.
Oh man,
It's like you're like the epitome of the beautiful struggle, man.
If I could see myself, years ago,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even bet that I was gonna be here. I never thought so.
Yeah.
I honestly, and the other day, when was it? Like 2 months ago? I think 2 months ago. Yes. I asked my mom. This is now living here. Now we have a house, right?
Nice,
Now
man.
we have a house.
Nice.
From a little room to a duplex apartment to now a home.
Shoot, man.
Right?
Look at this guy, man.
And then I was doing some computer work,
Yeah.
and then she was washing dishes, and I just occurred me to ask her, like, Mom, did you ever, when we were living in Mexico, did you ever thought we would have a future as individually? Kid you not, she stopped moving, and her eyes starting to water. I was like, shoot, I messed up. Sometimes I ask these random questions to my friends, family, something, because I want to see the reaction.
Right.
Sometimes I go a little too far.
Yeah, right.
And then she starts cleaning up her tears, and I stand up and I go stand next to her. What happened? And then she says, I never thought we would make it. I just thought, mijo, that we were gonna live in this life of I was gonna help cook for you guys, and you guys were gonna go as far as possible in school. And I asked her, did you ever thought we would go to university? She said, honestly, I didn't know we were gonna make it every month. Did you thought I had the potential to be where I am? And she said, no.
Wow.
I didn't think you had it. I didn't think any of us had it.
Wow.
She, including herself, my dad, and my older brothers.
Right.
I didn't think we had it. And I asked her, so what did you think we were gonna be? And she said, I didn't thought that far. I didn't want to think that far because I didn't want to hear the answer. That probably was never gonna happen. And so if I, thinking back then, what my mom was saying about us, and now speed up, 18, 20 years later, where I was sitting there with my mom, and we're just chilling, I tell her, well, you don't have to worry anymore. You can think now. You can actually dream now.
Yeah.
So we got this. And that's the beauty in the struggle, that there was no hope. And, things change and it turned into this beautiful, life that it still has its struggles.
Yeah.
It still has its questions. It still has its doubts, but it doesn't mean it's not beautiful. Right? It still exists. It's your choice, whether you want to look the beauty in between the lines of it. The moment you're married, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be a point, where you're gonna get wrinkly, AD.
Your
wife too.
The dad bod is slowly creeping in, but I'm trying to keep it away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but these life experience that you have with your wife, with your kids, is gonna increase the room of love that you have for your spouse. It doesn't matter how you're gonna look. You're still gonna be passionately in love with her, and you're gonna choose to love her. If we don't have these struggles, if we don't have these ugly times, we won't grow faith in each other, right?
100%, man.
So definitely, I find the beauty on on this craziness, because I know that something better is gonna happen.
I love it, man. You heard it from his first, man. Mr. Antonio, keep faith alive and don't give up, man. And thank you so much for sharing that very vulnerable story.
No, for sure.
That I'm sure it'll inspire a lot of people that watch
Hopefully,
this video.
yes. Yeah,
and where can they find more about you? And if you want to leave anything.
Yes. So you guys can find me on Instagram as Dunamis Sports Massage, just like that. Follow the lion, and just click on there. I have always gifts for people. I'm always posting really cool things about exercising and therapeutic care. You guys can find me also on Facebook as Dunamis Sports Massage. I show videos about treatments and stuff. So feel free to follow me there too.
Yep. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll make sure to put Antonio's information in the link below. But please, if you love this video, you love what you're watching and you want to see more of it, or maybe you want to see Antonio's mother or something, you want to see a follow-up, see what's going on in the future.
That's a good conversation.
We could definitely set that up. But thank you so much for your time. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. I'd like to see more videos, and until next time.
Thank you.